Looking at this pile of books that I have in front of me, February's theme is giving Black girls being loved on, but also mystery, vengeance, and robots. I don't know, it's a bit all over the place. Hi friend, welcome. It's Michaela, but you can call me Mac. We're gonna do a quick, kind of late February TBR. I don't typically do TBRs because I am very much so a mood reader, but it's Black History Month and it's the month of love, and I'm in the mood to read about Black girls being in love. Plus, the way that I'm setting up my February reading journal, it's like sometimes I feel like I kind of have to set a TBR. I don't know, we'll see. We'll figure it out for the rest of the year. But for now, we have 9 books on this list, which is a wild number for me. And February is a short month. Okay, we're gonna try to get through this list as much as we possibly can. Anyway, first up on the list is Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. This is my first Kennedy Ryan book. I've heard such great things about this book and her other books, and then just her as an author in general. So I'm kind of excited. I did pick up the audio book and I started it on the 1st of this month. I'm only like an hour or so in, so not that far, but it's good so far. This story follows Yasmin and Josiah. They are a recently divorced couple. They have 2 kids and they own a restaurant together, and I believe this book is just kind of about them living their lives, being newly separated, and like navigating what their lives look like now. I believe it's also about healing from a traumatic experience and the complexities that come along with that, as well as a possible like second chance at love. I don't know, I'm excited about that. This one sounds like it's gonna be pretty good. The next book on my list is called The Romantic Agenda. This follows Joy, who is 30, flirty, and asexual, and she is secretly in love with her best friend Malcolm, while Malcolm is in love with Summer, and I think there's like this guy named Fox who is Summer's ex-boyfriend. So Fox and Joy kind of make a deal to like fake date, I guess, to make Malcolm jealous, and I'm pretty sure feelings are gonna develop, you know, with this whole fake dating situation. But this one sounds pretty good. And this is crazy for me to say, but I think this might be my first book where the main character is openly ace, which is not great because, I mean, I can't just think of one off the top of my head. So this might be my first book where the main character is asexual, which we have to change that. That's not great. We have to change that. But yeah, I'm excited to read this one because it sounds fun and the cover looks really cute. I also have Never Look Back on my list. This is a modern day retelling of the Greek myth of Orpheus and Eurydice, but it's like Afro-Latinx and it takes place in the Bronx. According to Storygraph, this is a good fit for people who are interested in stories that explore cultural identity, mental health, and the power of first love, and of course, if you're interested in Greek mythology. Yeah, I think I might be the least excited about this one just because it's a young adult book and I've just been really interested in reading more mature romances with more mature characters, and I mean the premise sounds good, and I love, don't get me wrong, I love first love and young love. Like, it's just so sweet and cute and adorable. But lately I've just been wanting to read about like grown people dealing with grown people problems and like finding love, giving love, receiving love, showing love, learning to love themselves. Not to say that like young adult or like teenage problems aren't problems. Everyone's problems are valid, but I don't really relate to some of those problems, if that makes sense. So yeah, I think this one might be one of the later books I'll start later on in the month, but it does still seem really cute. The next book that I have is Savvy Sheldon Feels Good as Hell. This is a sexy romance about a plus-size sweetheart that gets a full life makeover after a brutal breakup, and she ends up falling for the head contractor on her home renovation project, and honestly, love that for her. Storygraph says this is a good fit for anyone who's looking for a heartwarming, uplifting story about self-discovery and personal growth with themes of self-love, empowerment, and hope. I have two nonfiction books on this list. The first one is The Body Is Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love by Sonia Renee Taylor. This is a good fit for anyone who's interested in exploring the intersections of body positivity, self-love, and social justice, and who want to be inspired to take action towards creating a more inclusive and compassionate world. I just got the notification that this book is ready to pick up from the library, so I will be doing that here shortly. I just downloaded the audiobook for Well-Read Black Girl, Finding Our Stories and Discovering Ourselves. I'm sure we all know that not everyone regularly sees themselves in the pages of a book. In that moment that you find a character that seems to be written just for you, that feeling stays with you for the rest of your life. Well-Read Black Girl is a collection of essays written by Black women who want to shine a light on how important it is that we all, regardless of race, gender, religion, ability, have the opportunity to see ourselves in literature. I'm excited for this one. Okay, so moving on to like my other category. Some of these books might seem a little bit random, and that's because they kind of are. But some of them are on my 30 before 30 list, and I really just want to start knocking out some of these books on that list. First up, I have A Psalm for the Wild Built. I've heard such good things about this book, but I have no idea what it's about. And I want to go into it with as little information as possible. But according to the little snippet on Storygraph, this is a great book for people who are interested in exploring the meaning of purpose and fulfillment in a world where material needs are met, and who also enjoy hopeful and reflective stories that inspire positive change. This next book is literally random. Alex and I went to the library the other day and I was like, go pick out a book for me. I don't care if you pick it out based on the title, the cover, if you read the little synopsis and you like it. So he chose Night of the Living Rez. And from what I'm understanding is it's like a collection of short stories that's set in a native community in Maine. That is all I really know about it. That's all I really want to know about it before I go into it. But I did look up the little snippet on Storygraph, and so it says it's a good fit for readers interested in exploring the complexities of Indigenous identity, family dynamic, and the impacts of historical trauma on contemporary communities, all woven into a collection of interconnected short stories with a touch of dark humor and emotional depth. What's interesting is I'm not a huge fan of like a collection of short stories, and I have two on my list for February. But I think this one's going to be really interesting because of the theme, but also because the short stories are apparently interconnected. So I'm kind of curious to see what this is about, and like if we can even get to this this book on this list, because this list is so long. Which brings me to my last book on my list, and because I'm shooting this so late, I've already finished one book on my February TBR, Razorblade Tears. This was a really good book. I really liked this. This is a story about an interracial gay couple who end up being murdered, and their dads have to come together to solve their son's murder. I thought this was going to like make me cry. I thought this was gonna rip my heart out. I mean, like, there's some sad moments in there, but overall, it is a story of vengeance. And honestly, I was cheering for these two dads. And, you know, the dads weren't super supportive of their sons when they were alive. And so the story does touch on points of like them learning and growing and having some regrets, and them kind of feeling guilty for not being in their son's life as much as they would have liked to be when their sons were still alive. But this book was really good. According to Storygraph, this is a good book for anyone who is seeking a gripping and emotionally charged story that explores themes of family, loyalty, and redemption set against a background of crime and vengeance, heavy on the vengeance. This book was good. I did end up shedding a tear eventually, but it wasn't the cry fest that I thought I was going to be getting. It was so good. By the way, if you're ever curious what's on my current reading list and you don't want to wait for like the end of the month wrap up videos, hop over to my Instagram. I try to share my real-time experience of like reading the book on my stories over there. And please, I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions on the stories that I'm reading. So slide into my DMs, let's chat about stories. And I know I probably should say no spoilers, but I love a good spoiler. I love a good spoiler, so if you accidentally spoil something for me in my DMs, you know, I probably won't be upset because I actually like knowing what happens before I read it. I don't know, is that weird? Let me know what you're reading this month down in the comments section, and of course don't forget to subscribe here so you can see all of my monthly reading journal wrap-up videos that I do at the end of each month. If you haven't seen it yet, I will put my January wrap-up video right here on the side of the screen where I talk about all the books that I read in January and possibly my favorite book of the year, and the year is just getting started, but that book was so good. Anyway, friend, I really appreciate you being here. Thanks so much for watching. Bye!